One question. Do you know who rides in your pram? Do you honestly know who travels in your pram? Tell you for why. I had an experience the other day. I was pushing the pram through Leeds city centre, and I was stopped by a policeman. And he had a nurse with him who had one of those origami hats on, which was rather like two dinghies that had collided on a heath. And she reached into the pram in a very officious way and brought out what she proclaimed as, she had a little book of identification. I forgot to tell you that. She had an identification of pram contents, official, Her Majesty's Stationery Office manual, published by the I Spy people, no doubt. And she identified the contents of the pram, my pram, as the punchline to mathematics. And it was like a piece of teacher's chalk that had worn down, and it was very shallow. You couldn't write with it. It resembled a Ronnie. Do you remember Ronnies? They were indigestion pills made out of Dover. And I said, listen, the copper, he took it off the nurse, before I could say anything really. And he says, "Hello, Chucky." I said, "You're way behind the times. Mathematics doesn't come from chalk anymore. There's no punchline to mathematics. It's unstinting. You see, they use whiteboards, which is like a sheet of frozen milk, I suppose, or almond jelly. One of those sweetmeats from the Orient I had long time ago. I always imagine what it'd be like to have an whole sheet of it. And they write on it with those chunky felt tips, or one of those electrode pens that spunk out pixel dust. And as I say, it's infinite supply of mathematics, no punchline. It's like a shaggy dog story. It's like one shaggy dog and another shaggy dog and another shaggy dog. Shaggy dogs laid end to end from here to the moon, back again, ad nauseum. There's infinite supply. There's a lot for kids to learn. They're under a lot of pressure. My wife is a maths teacher. That's how I know this. Anyway, so do you honestly know who travels, who rides in your pram? Another experience I had, which is connected with this story, obviously, is I was pushing the pram up Beacon Hill in Halifax, up towards the folk shop. There's a shop at the top of the hill that sells folk requisites, and I needed a pair of Lutenist tights for a friend of mine who was about to go on a Lutenist retreat, and they were only allowed to wear tights. They couldn't wear slacks or briefs or mandolin players jodhpurs, or the moleskins favoured by bassoon jacks. So I was working. He goes to these retreats, and they have to speak in parchment riddles. He likes it. He loves it. So fair enough. Pressy for him up the hill. But I wasn't stopped this time. What happened was that the axle buckled, snapped in two, and I had to call the emergency services, the online recovery people, as per the statutes. There was a stump phone between two cobbles on Beacon Hill. Halifax tends to provide this equipment at the roadside because, especially on higher ground, there's quite a high risk of needing rescue. Most people in Halifax have had to be rescued at some point in their lives. So they arrived, and with the bloke in the roadside recovery van, there was a nurse. He was with a nurse again, and she had a massive origami hat, which was like 3 yachts sort of colliding on a moor. You know, one of the bigger moors, like Exmoor. No, like Dartmoor. I mean, more like Dartmoor, because Exmoor's a bit of a Mickey Mouse moor compared to Dartmoor. You can get lost, can't you, on Dartmoor? In fact, if you are lost on Dartmoor, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So she has this book of identification. She puts her hand into the pram and pulls out what she proclaims. I've got it written down on a horn book that I got from the folk shop later, because it amused me. You know, it amused me a little bit. She said, "This is a bloated cargo. This is a bloated cargo, sure to kink the wheels." She says, "For all the world an ounce of clueless butter, with a bland religious face." A bland religious face? I mean, what sort of terminology is that to be using in the 21st century? When it's, I mean, obviously, you know, I know, that most religious faces are extremely characterful in this day and age. Bland religious face, she says. And she went on, a raucous giant with a tongue like blossom varnished to a twig. Well, I thought, I've got to hold my hand up, because I said, "This time, love, you know, you bang on.